a month or two ago, I can't remember exactly when it was. You was on in London at a Free Palestine demonstration. I'm not 100% sure what you were doing there, but I've seen the video where you're talking to somebody who it looks like you've met before or you know of. He puts his arm on you and you just politely push his arm off, holding you. It wasn't violent, it wasn't fast, it wasn't forceful. It was like, you basically in your head, you were saying, please don't touch me. And he screams, the police come over, and you're arrested for assault. Can you talk to me about that, please?
Right, so it was 18th of May. I went down to central London to cover two events. One of them was the South African elections. There were South Africans living in the UK were voting in South Africa House. They were queuing up outside the South Africa House in Charing Cross. So I went there first and I talked to some of the representatives of different political parties, some of the people who were queuing up to vote. And then there was a pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine march, whatever you want to call it, that I went to cover. I was actually writing a letter that was published in the Spiked Online, and I was sort of like investigating like how much do these people that go to the protests know about the topic. So I needed to talk to people and film them, and it was at Piccadilly Circus. I talked to a few people. I did all the filming that I wanted to do, and I was just to go back home because I had guests coming around, and we had a dinner event that I needed to get back to. And then suddenly, this Iranian guy that I've never met before, but I know about him. He's very well known and very despised in the Iranian expat community because he came to this country claiming political asylum. But then since he's been here, he's been promoting the regime. And in 2017, I took a picture of him at the Al-Quds rally. Al-Quds rally, for those viewers that don't know, is the annual rally that the Iranian government organizes in Western European countries every year to support Palestine and to promote the Iran's political Islam doctrine. And he was waving, he was holding a Hezbollah flag. And I posted that on my Twitter account at the time, and it went viral. It was I think reposted about 3,000 times. So he knew about me, I knew about him, but I'd never met him. And just as I was about to leave, I saw him point the camera at me, and it looked like he was live streaming. He said, "Oh, look who's here! He obviously works for the Israelis. He's a Mossad agent." So I couldn't walk away. So I went up to him, and we got into an argument. And I said, "Look, you're the one who's disingenuous. You're the one who came here claiming political asylum, but you're promoting the regime. If you're promoting the regime, why are you here? Why are you taking all the benefits in this country, but you don't want to go back to and live in a country where you're promoting the regime in there?" And then at that point, he grabbed my arm, and like you say, I just basically released my arm and just like pushed him back. And suddenly, I had about like 10 police officers jump on me, and they were trying to bring me down on the ground, and they couldn't. And I was saying to them, like, why are you trying to put me on the floor? I'm not resisting arrest. And interestingly, the police officer who initiated my arrest, the first one to jump on me, turned out to be an Iranian police officer who's been in this country for 15 years. And then later on, I found out from the arrest transcript, I found that his name was PC Imamzadeh. Now, Imamzadeh means born of cleric. Normally, religious families connected to the Iranian Shia clerics have that sort of surname. It doesn't necessarily mean they're pro-regime if that's got that surname, but it just all adds up. And when I watched the video, it looked like that person, the disingenuine, the bogus asylum guy. It looks like he's pointing at him. He's like saying, like, this is him. Come and grab him, as if it was a setup. He said to me he didn't know me, which is unusual because I'm quite well known in the Iranian expat community. He said he didn't know the other guy, which again is unusual because he is well known in the Iranian community. All I'm saying is that obviously the arrest was wrong. I mean, the case has been dismissed. It didn't even go to court. As soon as the Crown prosecution saw the video evidence, they dismissed the case. So I went for my first hearing. I pleaded not guilty. Trial was set on 15th of July, but as soon as the evidence was shown to Crown Prosecution Service, it was dismissed. The video was actually shown to the prosecutor on the first hearing as well, but she said she was too junior to dismiss the case. She didn't have the authority to dismiss the case. So then they set the trial date for 15th of July, but the case is dismissed. So, I mean, any fair person who saw the video can tell that what happened to me was wrong. It was a wrongful arrest. And I'm very suspicious about the Iranian police guy. And all I'm saying is that he should be investigated. You know, I hope the investigation proves that it was just, you know, a coincidence that he was Iranian and nothing was up. But I've been told by the counterterrorism police that I'm a target of the Iranian regime. I have a panic alarm fitted in my house. I get visited by the counterterrorism police. My security was compromised because I had to give my address to that police officer. So there needs to be some sort of investigation. That police officer should be investigated. Like I say, it may turn out that there's nothing to it and he's not connected, but it should be investigated. They should look to see when was the last time he went to Iran. Is he still in contact with anyone in Iran? Because infiltrating into an institution like the police force is a very, very serious security matter, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. So what I'm saying is, for the benefit of the country, you know, you can't just see. What I've seen is the recruitment standards in the police, and you've seen this as well. We've talked about it before in Manchester. It's dropped so low for the sake of political correctness and all this inclusiveness. There hardly any vetting is done. I mean, my lawyer, when he read the arrest transcript, he said, "Oh my God, who's written this? This is just full of mistakes." And interestingly enough, the woman who took that video, which really saved me, because otherwise it would have been my word against them, because his body cam was just showing from behind. It wasn't showing that the other guy grabbed my arm first. I was very, very lucky for this good lady to have taken that video. She actually went to the police officers and said, "I'm a witness. I've got a video of the incident." They've taken her name and details and everything. On the transcript, they had her as their witness, but they never contacted her. They never talked to her. They never looked at the video, and they just assumed that she'd videoed the incident and she was their witness. That's how stupid they were. Also, in that incident, you see a woman police officer trying to grab my head to bring me down on the floor. Now, I had a bit of an argument with her earlier because the Metropolitan Police had issued a statement saying anyone, and a picture of someone saying anyone who's got information on this person, please contact the police. And that person happened to walk by in the protest. So I went and told her, and in fact, a friend of mine was watching it on live stream, and he took a screenshot and he sent it to me as well as further proof that this guy has just walked past. And I went up to her, showed her the statement by the Metropolitan Office, by the Metropolitan Police, saying that if anyone in the public has got information on this person, please contact the police. I said, this person has just walked past. And she just showed no interest. She said, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do?" I said, "Well, you know, this is the statement by Metropolitan Police. They're asking for information from the public, and this guy's just walked by." She said, "Well, I can't do anything about it. It's gone there." So I said, "Well, can you show some enthusiasm? Can you sort of like, you know, write it down, you know, take some notes, tell your supervisor or something?" And so I started filming her, and she got really annoyed that I was filming her because I wanted to show that this woman has got no interest in the public giving information on a wanted person. And so I think she had a bit of a sort of like a grudge against me, which is why she was trying to pull my head down as well. So at the moment, I'm waiting for an organisation to see if they would back me up so that I can bring a case against the police. And if that doesn't happen, then I'll be looking for a no-win, no-fee solicitor because I think it's quite a straightforward case. I was wrongfully arrested. I was taken to Walworth Police Station for I was in sort of like in a cell for more than 12 hours. And the other interesting thing, Nick, is the detective who came to interview me, and I didn't even ask for a solicitor because I thought this is going to be a straightforward case. I mean, I didn't have the video at the time. I got the video afterwards because they took my phone. Had they not taken my phone, they would have sent me the video, and I could have shown it during the interview, and maybe the whole case would have been cleared then. But when I was trying to tell the detective about what happened and who this other guy was, and about the incident about him with the Hezbollah flag, the detective who was interviewing me didn't know who Hezbollah was. And I'm going, "You're a university graduate." I said, "How can you not know what Hezbollah is? If you just watch the news, you should know who Hezbollah is. It's a prescribed terrorist group by the UK government, and you're a police officer and you don't know about a prescribed terrorist group, and you coming here to interview me. It's just incredible. I've just had enough of the stupidity of the police. I mean, every government, they talk about, like, oh, recruiting more police, putting another 20,000 police on the street. It's not the quantity, it's the quality. You've got to do something about the vetting process. Some of the
Absolutely.
police officers these days don't speak English.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, when I was running for mayor,
they're not physically fit, they're not intellectually fit to carry the task.
yeah. Well, we say that every day, don't we?
Yeah, and they just keep talking about recruiting more. Recruiting more is not going to solve anything. So that was the gist of what happened, really.
Yeah. I think a couple of things there. The first thing about the police, I had some Greater Manchester police officers speak to me confidentially when I was running for mayor, and they said to me, if we sacked between 15 and 20% of police officers in Greater Manchester and didn't replace them, if we sacked the crap ones and didn't replace them, they said Greater Manchester police productivity would go through the roof. They said we're spending so much time cleaning up the mistakes of poor police officers that we can't arrest criminals.
Well, look how much resources was wasted in just my incident, right? And also the thing is, they even called an ambulance for the other guy. Did you see that? They called an ambulance for him, and they were taking his blood. But all I did was like push his arm away. And someone took another clip where they showed like they'd called an ambulance, and he was sitting in the back of the ambulance having his blood pressure taken. I mean, 10 police officers jumping on me, right? All that process of taking me to the police station, all the judiciary process and everything, complete waste of resources. Calling the ambulance for that guy. I mean, most of us know if we call an ambulance or something, either it takes about 10-12 hours to come, or they even tell us like to call a cab. It'd be quicker to call a cab, and yet they call an ambulance for this guy straight away, and no one's charging him with assault, or no one is charging him with wasting emergency resources. The inefficiency, the waste of resources is just clear for everyone to see. And if there was one video where you could see how much police are wasting time and resources, is that video of my arrest. It's such a bad indictment on police waste of resources. And I'm not surprised when you said that. I mean, most of the time is just completely wasted because of the inadequacy of these police officers.
It is. Let me put this scenario to you. I wouldn't have such an aversion to your arrest if that's how they treated everybody at demonstrations. But it just seems to be they only treat certain people on certain sides of demonstrations like the way they treated you.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, part of the details that I just gave you was like, here you are issuing a statement saying you're asking the public to give information about this guy, and then like the guy passes by, but because it's too difficult to arrest him, or you're too scared of arresting him, you don't care. You say, well, I mean, if you go up to a police officer and say, look, you've been asking the public to give information on this guy, and you say like, the guy's here, and she says, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, and the police only give those directives when they really want to get hold of that person. You've got to be a serious criminal for them to put stuff like that out.
Female police officer should be investigated. Why did she not care about this guy walking past and taking notes about it?
Because she's a female police officer, which means the vast majority of female police officers are box tickers, which means they only got the job because they're a woman. They're not strong enough, they're not fast enough, they're not capable compared to most male police officers. You're right, we've lowered the bar so much now that we have fat, white, obese men joining. You can't even run. We have people who can't write English, we have people who can't speak English. I've got so many stories about box ticking in Greater Manchester Police. People, known criminals who got jobs in the police because they ticked a box, and then years later they get sacked because they're still criminals. It's like, well, you knew they were criminals when you hired them, but they ticked an ethnic box or they ticked this box, so you gave them the job. All our police forces is full of this woke identity politics, and it's killing the forces. It's killing all of us.
And when I criticise the police and that, I mean, both of us, I think, me and you, we're actually pro police people. I mean, we care about the police officers on the front line that are put in danger. And what we're criticizing is the policies that are coming from the top, the way the new recruits are vetted, the way the police are managed. I mean, when I saw what happened at Hare Hills with the police running, and it's not the first time we see a clip of police running away from a scene. I've seen at least half a dozen such cases with various protests and all that. I mean, there's a serious management issue there. They're putting the police officers in a vulnerable situation where they have to resort to running away, which is really, really embarrassing for a police force. How can you have confidence in your police force when you see them running away? But I don't blame those individual police officers. I blame the people that put them in that situation. And something's got to be done, and it's got to come from the top. The root cause of the problem is at the top, and it's with the vetting and this crazy thing about let's just recruit anyone for the sake of political correctness and inclusiveness.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem, but the real problem is the political oversight of the police. It's the politicians who tell the chief constables what's important in your force. They're only doing what the politicians are expecting them and telling them to do. That's why we need a better class of politicians, because they're the ones who run. They're the ones who run the police. Really, it's not just the chief constable.
I mean, like yesterday in the Manchester airport, the incident that happened at Manchester airport. I mean, from what I'm hearing about this situation and what the police statement was, and that the two individuals that were you see in the video being arrested, they'd assaulted police officers in an airport. I mean, this is a very, very serious offence. It's a very, very serious crime, and it's very dangerous to the public. The police officers in the airports are armed as well. So if you attack an armed police officer, you're endangering everyone around you. And it is a very, very serious offence. So, I don't blame those officers for that response. I think they did the right thing. It was more important to contain these individuals that are causing great danger to the public than anything else. And look at the outcry so far. And I believe that police officer that's seen in the video is actually suspended. And this sort of thing happens every time again. Let them do their job. Let them protect the public. Stop all this political correctness nonsense, because it's only helping the criminals.
Exactly. I mean, the police.
I was actually speaking. I was actually speaking to another police officer just yesterday in Bond Street, and he was telling me about a colleague of his who tried to arrest someone. These people that go on bikes snatching people's mobile phones off the street. And he's being investigated because he pushed the mugger off his bike. I mean, how else is he going to arrest him?
We expect our police officers to be superheroes, but they're not. So 1 minute we're complaining that police officers are not reducing crime and tackling violent criminals or suicide bombers, and the next day when they are tackling violent criminals, it's like, oh, that was too violent, or you should have asked them to sit down and put their hands behind their head. When you've got a 6-foot man throwing punches towards you or resisting arrest, first of all, no female police officer can arrest a man who doesn't want to be arrested. So you need most men will struggle arresting another man. So force is necessary. Now, where that balance is down to the courts, down to policy. But we keep expecting our police officers to be able to subdue someone with no violence whatsoever. And it's impossible.
It's an impossible task. Yeah, completely.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.